Hi everyone! Thank you for coming and welcome to your journey to Nineveh. Over the next 3 days, we're going to trace the steps of one of the most successful prophets in the entire Old Testament, Jonah himself. Now, although Jonah was successful in calling out the word of the Lord so that an entire city repented and turned from their evil ways, we'll see that Jonah was not the most obedient or compassionate person, but God still chose to use him. We'll also get to meet several characters that will give eyewitness accounts of what Jonah was like, what he struggled with, and more importantly, how God used Jonah and creation itself to bring over 100,000 unbelieving sinful people to the Lord. One word of caution, the story of Jonah is one that I'm sure many of you are familiar with from cartoons or coloring sheets. But trust me, you'll be surprised by what you learn actually happened and what's recorded in the Bible. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What do you think about us bringing out our first eyewitness, one of the first to really interact with Jonah as this story begins? Let's give a warm, salty welcome to the captain of the mariner ship.
Shiver me timbers, what a rough-looking bunch of scallywags we have here. Ahoy there! Ha ha ha!
Thank you for coming here today, Captain. We were hoping you could tell these fine folks about how you met the prophet Jonah and what happened on your ship.
Indeed, meeting Jonah was one of the worst things and best things that ever happened to me and me crew.
How so, Captain?
Well, you see, when we met that landlubber Jonah, we were making our normal run from Joppa to Tarshish, carrying cargo to and fro across the Mediterranean. And he was hitching a ride with us, as some do from time to time. But Jonah was different. He was a prophet of the Lord himself.
That must have been pretty awesome, right?
Well, you'd think so, but no. This biscuit eater was a prophet of the Lord who, get this, was trying to run from the Lord.
What?
That's right. That old scallywag thought that he could get away from the presence of the Lord, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the land and the sea, the maker of everything, by jumping on our ship. See, we didn't know any of this until we were well underway. We were a ways out into the Mediterranean when we came upon a mighty tempest. You would call it a storm. Well, this was like no storm this old salt had ever seen before or since. This was a terrible storm that was threatening to tear my beloved ship from stem to stern. We had battened down the hatches, but I just knew me ship, me crew, and all me precious cargo would be sleeping in Davy Jones's locker for sure. I'm not too proud to say that yours truly was horribly terrified. Me hearties and I didn't know the Lord at the time, so we called out to our God, little G. But nothing happened. The storm, she kept a raging.
Oh man, what did you do then, Captain?
Well, as much as we hated to, we had to lighten the load on the ship, so we started throwing our precious cargo overboard.
That must have been a tough decision. Did it help?
Not in the slightest. So I went down to the belly of my ship to see what else I could get rid of when I saw something that truly shocked me.
What was that?
I saw Jonah lying down, sawing logs. He was sleeping.
What did you do then, Captain?
Well, I said, "Avast ye, you little..." Well, I think it would be better to read from the Bible what I actually said. Chapter 1, verse 6 of the book of Jonah. So the captain, that's yours truly. So the captain came and said to him, "What do you mean, you sleeper? Arise, call out to your God. Perhaps the God will give a thought to us that we may not perish."
Well, what did Jonah do?
Didn't seem that he did a bloomin' thing. So my crew and I cast lots, you'd call them dice, so we could find out on whose account this evil had come upon us. So we cast lots, and you know who the lot fell on? It was that landlubber Jonah. So we did a bit of inquiring to old Mr. Jonah, as to what his deal was, where he came from, and such.
What did Jonah have to say for himself?
See, Jonah had been pretty quiet at this point, but responded very confidently that he was a Hebrew, that he feared the Lord, the God, big G, of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. Needless to say, we were pretty scared at this point, because we knew Jonah was trying to run away from the presence of God, which I don't need to remind you is impossible.
What did you do then?
Well, we had no choice but to ask Jonah what we could do so that the raging sea might settle down. And Jonah responded in a most peculiar way. He told us the only way to get the storm to stop would be to pick him up and heave him overboard. Well, we didn't like that option, so me and me men really put our backs into it and rowed harder than we had ever rowed before. I tell you, that was some workout.
Did it work?
Not in the least. The sea, she got even worse, so we had no choice but to heave Jonah overboard. Before we did, though, we wanted to make sure we didn't anger Jonah's God, so we called out to him. I'll read it again, so as to get it right. Chapter 1, verse 14 from the book of Jonah. Therefore they called out to the Lord, O Lord, let us not perish for this man's life, and lay not on us innocent blood, for you, O Lord, have done as it pleased you. Then we threw him overboard.
What happened then?
It was the most amazing thing this old sea dog had ever experienced. As soon as Jonah hit the water, the sea, she went dead calm. Needless to say, me crew and I knew this was from the Lord, and it shook us to our very core. We feared the Lord and offered a sacrifice to him, and made vows to walk with him. So you see that although this was a terrible situation, I'm so glad that it happened, because I now belong to the one true God, the maker of the heavens and the earth, the maker of the sea and the dry land. So that's why I say that meeting Jonah was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me and my crew.
So what happened to Jonah after that?
Truly, I don't know, but we hear tell of him being swallowed by a great fish and being taken to Nineveh. But you'll have to come back tomorrow to find out for sure.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Captain, for that amazing eyewitness account. What do you say, kids, that we thank the captain and then sing a song before you go with your group leaders to explore Nineveh? See you tomorrow, everyone!